First up, the Kennedy half-dollar was first introduced in 1964 to honor President John F. Kennedy after his tragic assassination in 1963. By 1973, the coin was already a popular choice for collectors and still circulated widely in the United States. However, what makes the 1973 Kennedy half-dollar particularly interesting is the story behind its production. That year, the US Mint produced these coins, but they were never released for general circulation. Instead, they were minted exclusively for inclusion in US Mint proof sets and uncirculated coin sets. This makes the 1973 half-dollar a little different from the coins you might find in your everyday pocket change. There are two versions of the 1973 Kennedy half-dollar: the Philadelphia Mint coins, which do not have a mint mark, and the Denver mint mark coins, which have a small D mint mark on the obverse just above the date. Additionally, there's the 1973 S-proof version, which was struck at the San Francisco Mint. Proof coins are made with a special minting process that gives them a mirror-like finish and sharp details, making them particularly desirable for collectors. Now, let's talk value. Like any coin, the value of a 1973 Kennedy half-dollar depends on several factors, including its condition, rarity, and demand among collectors. For coins in average circulated condition, their value is typically close to their face value of 50 cents. However, since these coins were not released into circulation, it's uncommon to find them in a heavily worn state. Most 1973 Kennedy half-dollars exist in uncirculated or near-perfect condition. For uncirculated coins from the Philadelphia and Denver mints, values generally range from $3 to $6, depending on the condition. If you have a coin that's been professionally graded and received a high grade, such as MS65 or higher, it could be worth significantly more, often $10 to $20 or even higher for top-quality examples. The proof version of the 1973 S. Kennedy half-dollar is also highly collectible. Proof coins are often valued between $5 and $15 depending on their condition. If the coin has particularly strong eye appeal and has been graded as PF69 or PF70 by a professional grading service, its value can climb even higher. One thing to watch for is errors or varieties. Error coins are always in high demand, and some 1973 Kennedy half-dollars may show striking errors, double dies, or other unusual features. These errors can increase the value of the coin dramatically, depending on their rarity and desirability among collectors. If you suspect you have an error coin, it's worth having it professionally evaluated. Next up, by 1980 the coin had already cemented its place as a staple in American coinage, though its use in everyday transactions had declined due to its size and weight compared to smaller denominations. The obverse, designed by Gilroy Roberts, features a striking profile of Kennedy, while the reverse, crafted by Frank Gasparro, showcases the presidential seal with a heraldic eagle clutching an olive branch and arrows. Both designs have remained largely unchanged since the coin's debut. Now, let's talk about the 1980 Kennedy half-dollar specifically. This coin was struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, so you'll notice either a P or D mint mark just above the date on the obverse. If your coin lacks a mint mark, it's from the Philadelphia mint. In 1980, over 43 million half-dollars were produced in Philadelphia and more than 33 million in Denver. With such high mintage numbers, the 1980 Kennedy half-dollar isn't particularly rare, but certain factors can still influence its value. So what determines the value of a 1980 Kennedy half-dollar? The key factors are condition, grade, and any errors or unique characteristics. Let's break it down. Coins in uncirculated or higher grades, like MS65 or MS66, can fetch a premium. These coins have no signs of wear and retain their original luster. Keep an eye out for errors like double dies, off-center strikes, or planche flaws. These can significantly increase the value of your coin. Unfortunately, by 1980, Kennedy half-dollars were no longer struck in silver, so their intrinsic metal value is minimal. However, collectors still prize them for their historical and aesthetic appeal. In circulated condition, a 1980 Kennedy half-dollar is typically worth just its face value of 50 cents. In higher grades, however, they can range from $2 to $15 or more, depending on demand and rarity of the specific grade. If you're hunting for errors, be sure to carefully inspect your coin under magnification. Look for doubling on the lettering or Kennedy's profile, and pay attention to the edges for any unusual features. So there you have it, the history and value of the 1980 Kennedy half-dollar. While it's not the rarest coin out there, it's a wonderful piece of American history and a great addition to any collection. Next up, by 1985, the coin had already cemented its place as a staple in American coinage, though its use in everyday transactions had declined due to its size and weight compared to smaller denominations. The obverse, designed by Gilroy Roberts, features a striking profile of Kennedy, while the reverse, crafted by Frank Gasparro, showcases the presidential seal with a heraldic eagle clutching an olive branch and arrows. Both designs have remained largely unchanged since the coin's debut. Now, let's talk about the 1985 Kennedy half dollar specifically. This coin was struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, so you'll notice either a P or D mint mark just above the date on the obverse. If your coin lacks a mint mark, it's from the Philadelphia mint. In 1985, over 18.5 million half dollars were produced in Philadelphia, and more than 19.8 million in Denver. With such high mintage numbers, the 1985 Kennedy half dollar isn't particularly rare, but certain factors can still influence its value. So what determines the value of a 1985 Kennedy half dollar? The key factors are condition, grade, and any errors or unique characteristics. Let's break it down. Coins in uncirculated or higher grades, like MS65 or MS66, can fetch a premium. These coins have no signs of wear and retain their original luster. Keep an eye out for errors like double dies, off-center strikes, or planchet flaws. These can significantly increase the value of your coin. Unfortunately, by 1985, Kennedy half dollars were no longer struck in silver, so their intrinsic metal value is minimal. However, collectors still prize them for their historical and aesthetic appeal. In circulated condition, a 1985 Kennedy half dollar is typically worth just its face value of 50 cents. In higher grades, however, they can range from $2 to $15 or more, depending on demand and rarity of the specific grade. If you're hunting for errors, be sure to carefully inspect your coin under magnification, look for doubling on the lettering or Kennedy's profile, and pay attention to the edges for any unusual features. So there you have it, the history and value of the 1985 Kennedy half dollar. Next up, by 1974, the coin had become a familiar part of American coinage, although its use in everyday transactions was declining due to its size and weight compared to smaller denominations. The obverse, designed by Gilroy Roberts, features a striking profile of Kennedy, while the reverse, crafted by Frank Gasparro, showcases the presidential seal with a heraldic eagle clutching an olive branch and arrows. Both designs have remained largely unchanged since the coin's debut. Now, let's talk about the 1974 Kennedy half dollar specifically. This coin was struck at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints, so you'll notice a P, D, or S mint mark just above the date on the obverse. If your coin lacks a mint mark, it's from the Philadelphia mint. In 1974, over 201 million half dollars were produced in Philadelphia, more than 64 million in Denver, and over 2.6 million proof coins were struck in San Francisco. With such high mintage numbers, the 1974 Kennedy half dollar isn't rare, but its value can still vary based on its condition and unique features. So, what determines the value of a 1974 Kennedy half dollar in extra fine condition? The key factors are condition, grade, and any errors or unique characteristics. Coins in extra fine XF condition have light wear on the high points, with most details still sharp and some original luster remaining. In this grade, a 1974 Kennedy half dollar is typically worth slightly more than its face value, ranging from $1 to $3 depending on the mint mark and overall preservation. Keep an eye out for errors like double dies, off-center strikes, or planchet flaws, as these can significantly increase the value of your coin. By 1974, Kennedy half dollars were no longer struck in silver for circulation, so their intrinsic metal value is minimal. However, collectors prize these coins for their historical significance and enduring design. If you're hunting for errors, be sure to carefully inspect your coin under magnification. Look for doubling on the lettering or Kennedy's profile, and pay attention to the edges for any unusual features. So, there you have it, the history and value of the 1974 Kennedy half dollar in extra fine condition. While it's not the rarest coin out there, it's a wonderful piece of American history and a great addition to any collection. Next up, by 1984, the coin had become a familiar part of American coinage, although its use in everyday transactions was continuing to decline due to its size and weight compared to smaller denominations. The obverse, designed by Gilroy Roberts, features a striking profile of Kennedy, while the reverse, crafted by Frank Gasparro, showcases the presidential seal with a heraldic eagle clutching an olive branch and arrows. Both designs have remained largely unchanged since the coin's debut. Now let's talk about the 1984 Kennedy half dollar specifically. This coin was struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, so you'll notice either a P or D mint mark just above the date on the obverse. If your coin lacks a mint mark, it's from the Philadelphia mint. In 1984, over 26 million half dollars were produced in Philadelphia, and more than 26 million in Denver. With such high mintage numbers, the 1984 Kennedy half dollar isn't rare, but its value can still vary based on its condition and unique features. So, what determines the value of a 1984 Kennedy half-dollar in fine condition? The key factors are condition, grade, and any errors or unique characteristics. Coins in fine F condition show moderate wear, with major details still visible but lacking sharpness. In this grade, a 1984 Kennedy half-dollar is typically worth slightly more than its face value, ranging from 50 cents to $1. However, higher grades can fetch more, depending on demand and market trends. Keep an eye out for errors like double dies, off-center strikes, or plancher flaws, as these can significantly increase the value of your coin. By 1984, Kennedy half-dollars were no longer struck in silver for circulation, so their intrinsic metal value is minimal. However, collectors prize these coins for their historical significance and enduring design. If you're hunting for errors, be sure to carefully inspect your coin under magnification. Look for doubling on the lettering or Kennedy's profile and pay attention to the edges for any unusual features. So there you have it, the history and value of the 1984 Kennedy half-dollar in fine condition. While it's not the rarest coin out there, it's a wonderful piece of American history and a great addition to any collection. The quarter series began in 1932 to honor George Washington's 200th birthday. Designed by sculptor John Flanagan, this coin's iconic design, featuring Washington's profile on the obverse and a majestic eagle on the reverse, has remained a mainstay of American currency for decades. By 1967, however, the economic realities of the time had shifted the coin's composition away from silver. In the mid-1960s, rising silver prices led to widespread hoarding of coins, creating a national coin shortage. In response, Congress passed the Coinage Act of 1965, which removed silver from dimes and quarters and introduced a copper-nickel-clad composition. The 1967 Washington quarter is composed of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a core of pure copper. This change ensured the affordability and availability of coins for everyday transactions. The 1967 quarter was struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. But, like other quarters produced between 1965 and 1967, it does not bear a mint mark. This was a deliberate decision by the US Mint to discourage hoarding during the coin shortage. Consequently, there is no way to distinguish between quarters struck at the two facilities. In total, the Mint produced over 1.5 billion Washington quarters in 1967. Given this high mintage, most 1967 quarters found today are common and worth only their face value in circulated condition. However, coins in fine condition, those showing light to moderate wear with well-preserved details, may hold some collectible value. Quarters in this grade are often sought by beginner collectors or those interested in assembling year sets of US coins. For higher-grade examples, such as coins in uncirculated or mint state condition, values can range from $5 to $25, depending on the coin's luster, strike quality, and overall appearance. Coins graded MS65 or higher by professional services like PCGS or NGC are particularly desirable and can fetch even higher prices, especially if they exhibit exceptional sharpness and minimal imperfections. Error coins from 1967 are another area of interest for collectors. While errors from this year are not as common as those from other periods, examples such as off-center strikes, double dies, or coins struck on incorrect planchets can add significant value. Depending on the type and severity of the error, these coins can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. If you suspect you have an error coin, it's worth having it evaluated by a professional numismatist. The 1967 Washington quarters serves as a historical reminder of the economic challenges and solutions of its time. While it lacks the intrinsic value of earlier silver quarters, it represents a practical and durable solution to the coin shortages of the 1960s. For collectors, it offers an opportunity to explore a fascinating chapter in US coinage history. Next up, the Washington Quarter series was introduced in 1932 to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday. Sculptor John Flanagan designed the coin with its iconic profile of Washington on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. By 1982, the coin's composition had long been changed from the original 90% silver to a more economical copper-nickel-clad composition, which was implemented after the Coinage Act of 1965. The 1982 Washington Quarter is composed of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a core of pure copper. This durable and cost-effective composition became the standard for quarters and other coins like dimes and half dollars. The shift to copper-nickel-clad helped the US Mint manage rising metal costs and ensured the continued production of coins for circulation. In 1982, the US Mint produced quarters at both the Philadelphia and Denver facilities. Philadelphia coins lack a mint mark, while Denver quarters are marked with a D. Combined, the two mints struck hundreds of millions of quarters that year, 504 million in Philadelphia and 480 million in Denver. As a result, the 1982 quarter is generally considered common, though it holds some interest for collectors due to its historical context. One notable aspect of 1982 quarters is the absence of proof sets for collectors. The mint did not produce standard proof sets or uncirculated sets in 1982 and 1983, leading many collectors to seek out high-quality coins from circulation. This makes well-preserved examples from these years slightly more desirable compared to other modern quarters. In fine condition, a grade indicating light to moderate wear with well-preserved details, the 1982 quarter typically holds little numismatic premium and is valued at or near its face value of 25 cents. However, higher-grade coins in insignificant values can fetch more significant values. For example, coins graded MS65 or higher by professional services like PCGS or NGC can sell for $10 to $25, with prices increasing for coins exhibiting exceptional luster and strike quality. Next up, let's take a closer look at the 1988 Silver Washington Quarter, which was part of the ongoing U.S. Quarter series. The Washington Quarter, featuring the first President of the United States, George Washington, was introduced in 1932 to commemorate his 200th birthday. This coin has seen many different designs and changes over the decades, but in 1988, it remained part of the standard series that collectors still hunt for today. The Washington Quarter originally replaced the Standing Liberty Quarter and became an iconic symbol of U.S. currency. Since then, it has been minted with various designs, but the version we're looking at today is part of the general circulation quarters from 1988. So what makes the 1988 quarters special? Well, in terms of metal content, this is where it gets interesting. The regular 1988 Washington quarters, like most quarters minted since 1965, are made of a copper-nickel-clad composition, which means they aren't silver. However, there were some special collector's editions of silver quarters struck for sets, including the proof and silver proof versions. These silver quarters contain 90% silver, but the ones circulating in 1988 were not silver. On the reverse side of the coin, you'll see an eagle perched on an olive branch, just like in earlier Washington quarters. It also says E pluribus unum and $quarter, denoting its value. But despite its relatively standard appearance, it's important to remember that the 1988 Washington Quarter holds value for collectors, especially in fine condition. Now, when it comes to determining the value of a 1988 Washington Quarter, it all comes down to its condition. If you have a coin that's in fine condition, you'll see some moderate wear on the design, but the details are still clearly visible. In this state, the 1988 quarter is typically worth just a little more than face value, around 25 to 50 cents. However, if you have a higher grade coin, say a coin in uncirculated condition or a proof version, the value can jump considerably. An uncirculated 1988 Washington quarter could range from $1.25 to $3 or more, depending on market conditions and demand. For those silver-proof coins which are much rarer, they can fetch anywhere from $10 to $20 or even higher if graded well. So, if you're looking at your 1988 quarter and wondering about its worth, be sure to check its condition carefully. Coins that show little to no wear will be more valuable in the long run, especially when they are well preserved. To wrap it up, the 1988 Washington Quarter is a key coin for collectors, but its value is largely dependent on its condition. Whether you have a stack of them or you're just starting out as a numismatist, always remember to check the grade before assuming how much it's worth. Next up, the Washington Quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington's 200th birthday. Ever since then, the design has gone through a few changes, but the 1984 quarter is part of the regular series and features the classic design that has been in use since 1932. The front, or obverse, shows the profile of George Washington, the first President of the United States, and the words, "Liberty, in God we trust, and the year of minting." This is the hallmark of the series that continues to this day. On the reverse side, you will see an eagle perched on an olive branch, which symbolizes peace, strength, and freedom. The coin also features the words E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one, and $quarter, indicating its value. Now, let's talk about the metal composition. The 1984 Washington Quarter, like most quarters struck after 1965, is made from a copper-nickel-clad composition. That means it doesn't contain silver. The coin is 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel, which gives it a durable and solid feel. Unlike some earlier quarters, which were made of 90% silver, the 1984 coin doesn't have that precious metal value, but it still has its worth as a collectible and part of the regular US currency. So, what is the value of a 1984 quarter? In general, these coins are worth about face value, which is 25 cents, if they are in circulated condition. However, their value can increase depending on their grade and whether they are in uncirculated or proof condition. A coin in fine or average condition might be worth just a little more than face value, around 30 to 50 cents. But if you have an uncirculated coin, one that has been kept in pristine condition without any wear or damage, it could be worth $1 or more. Additionally, if you happen to own a proof version of the 1984 quarter, which was specially made for collectors, the value can be higher. Proof coins are struck with extra care and typically have a shiny mirror-like finish. These can range from $5 to $10, or more depending on their condition and rarity. For those looking for a rare and valuable piece, the 1984 silver proof version, which was part of a special set, could be worth around $20 or more, especially if it's been professionally graded as being in excellent condition. Next up. It became one of the most recognizable coins in the United States, and since its debut, the design has remained largely the same. The 1980 Washington quarter is no exception, maintaining the classic portrait of George Washington on the obverse, or front side of the coin. On the obverse you will find Washington's profile, surrounded by the words, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the year of minting, which in this case is 1980. The design was created by sculptor John Flanagan, and it has remained on the quarter without major changes since its introduction in 1932. Turning the coin over, the reverse side features an eagle perched on an olive branch, symbolizing peace and strength. You'll also see the inscription E pluribus unum, which translates to out of many, one, and the words $quarter, denoting the coin's face value of 25 cents. Now, let's talk about the composition and value of the 1980 Washington quarter. Like many of the quarters minted after 1965, the 1980 quarter is made of a copper-nickel-clad composition. It consists of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel, which makes it durable and resistant to wear. Unlike earlier quarters made of 90% silver, the 1980 coin does not contain any silver, which means it doesn't have the same precious metal value. In terms of its market value, the 1980 Washington quarter in fine condition is worth slightly more than face value. A coin in fine condition shows some wear, but most of the design details, including the features of George Washington and the eagle, remain visible. Typically, a 1980 quarter in fine condition might be valued at around 30 to 50 cents. If you have a 1980 quarter that's in higher grade condition, such as uncirculated or mint state, the value can increase. Uncirculated coins are those that have not been used in circulation and show no signs of wear. A well-preserved 1980 quarter in uncirculated condition could fetch anywhere from $1.50 to $3 or even more, depending on the market and demand. Proof versions of the 1980 quarter, which were specially minted for collectors, can be even more valuable. These proof coins have a polished, mirror-like finish and were struck with more care to provide a higher quality result. A proof version of the 1980 Washington quarter could be worth anywhere from $5 to $10 or more, depending on its condition and whether it has been professionally graded. Although the 1980 quarter is not made of silver, there are still certain versions that collectors seek out, including proof coins and any examples in pristine, uncirculated condition. Additionally, some quarters may have minting errors or unique characteristics that could increase their value in the collector market. To wrap it up, the 1980 Washington quarter, while not a silver coin, still holds value, especially for collectors interested in well-preserved examples. In fine condition, it might be worth just slightly more than face value, but if you have a higher grade or proof version, you could be looking at a coin worth a few dollars or more. The Eisenhower dollar was first introduced in 1971 to honor the legacy of Dwight D. Eisenhower, the 34th President of the United States. Eisenhower had a distinguished military career and played a key role during World War II. He also served as president from 1953 to 1961. The coin was designed by Frank Gasparo, and it marked the return of the US dollar coin after the peace dollar was discontinued in 1935. The coin quickly became a symbol of national pride and recognition of both Eisenhower's leadership and the era's achievements. The 1978 Eisenhower dollar features a portrait of President Eisenhower on the obverse, facing left. The design is based on a photograph of him taken in the 1950s. On the reverse, you'll find an eagle landing on the moon, which is a tribute to the Apollo 11 mission and the historic achievement of the first moon landing in 1969. The reverse design was intended to capture the spirit of the time when the United States was leading in space exploration, and it's a stunning reminder of the nation's accomplishments during that period. In terms of minting, the 1978 Eisenhower dollar was produced at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and it was made from copper nickel with a diameter of 38.1 mints and a weight of 22.68 grams. In addition to the regular circulation strikes, special proof coins were also minted at the San Francisco Mint. Proof coins are specially made for collectors with a higher quality finish that makes them stand out from regular coins. These proof versions have a mirror-like surface and are struck multiple times to ensure crisp, detailed designs. As for its value, the 1978 Eisenhower dollar generally holds a value close to its face value of $1 for coins in circulated condition. However, if you have a coin in excellent condition, such as an uncirculated coin, its value can range from $5 to $15, or even higher for exceptional examples. The proof coins, thanks to their finer quality, are typically valued higher, with prices ranging from $10 to $20 depending on the condition. Of course, if the coin has been professionally graded and certified, it could be worth more, especially if it has a unique characteristic, such as a rare error or higher grade. For collectors, the 1978 Eisenhower dollar is a part of a larger series, and it remains popular due to its connection to American history, especially the space race and Eisenhower's presidential legacy. While the coin was initially intended for circulation, it eventually became a staple in coin collections as it was phased out in the late 1970s in favor of the smaller Susan B. Anthony dollar in 1979. That change marked the end of the era for the Eisenhower dollar, which means that these coins are now primarily sought after by collectors who appreciate both the historical significance and the design. So, if you have a 1978 Eisenhower dollar in your collection, it could be worth more than just its face value. Whether you have a regular circulation coin or a proof version, it's definitely worth checking its condition and considering whether it might have a higher market value. Next up, the Eisenhower dollar was first introduced in 1971, designed to honor President Dwight D. Eisenhower. He was the 34th President of the United States, and his leadership during World War II and his 2 terms in office in the 1950s made him a beloved figure in American history. The coin was produced to commemorate his legacy, making it the first US dollar coin to feature a president since the peace dollar, which was last minted in 1935. The 1974 Eisenhower dollar was part of this series and, like the other coins in the series, was designed by Frank Gasparro. On the obverse of the coin, you'll see a portrait of President Eisenhower, facing left. This design was based on a photograph taken of Eisenhower in the 1950s. On the reverse side, the coin features an eagle landing on the moon, a tribute to the Apollo 11 mission and the historic first moon landing in 1969. The reverse design, which also represents America's spirit of exploration, was created by Gasparro to reflect the country's achievements during the space race. The 1974 Eisenhower dollar was minted in both copper nickel and in a special 40% silver version. The silver versions were produced for collectors, while the copper nickel versions were intended for general circulation. These silver coins are one of the reasons the Eisenhower dollar series remains popular among collectors. The silver content in the 40% silver coins was seen as a way for the US Mint to capitalize on the rising price of silver during the 1970s, which made these coins more appealing to investors and collectors. When it comes to the value of the 1974 Eisenhower dollar, there are a few key factors to consider: the coin's type, copper, nickel, or silver, its condition, and whether it's a proof coin. A well-worn, circulated copper-nickel 1974 Eisenhower dollar is generally worth its face value of $1, or maybe slightly more if it's in good condition. However, the 40% silver version of the 1974 coin is worth significantly more due to the silver content. Depending on the current price of silver, the value of these silver coins could range anywhere from $5 to $15, sometimes higher if the silver market prices rise. In terms of the minting numbers, the 1974 Eisenhower dollar was produced at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. The Philadelphia Mint produced the copper-nickel version, while the Denver Mint produced both the copper-nickel and silver versions. The US Mint also created proof versions of the coin, which were made at the San Francisco Mint. These proof coins are specially struck for collectors with a mirror-like finish, and they are highly valued by coin enthusiasts. Collectors often look for coins that have been well preserved or graded, as the condition of the coin plays a significant role in its value. A well-preserved coin, whether copper, nickel, or silver, will be worth more than one that has been heavily worn through circulation. Coins that have been professionally graded and certified can fetch even higher prices, particularly if they have a rare variety or feature. While the Eisenhower dollar was initially a popular circulating coin, it was eventually phased out in favor of the smaller Susan B. Anthony dollar, which was introduced in 1979. The Eisenhower dollar never quite caught on as a practical coin for everyday transactions, but its association with U.S. history, space exploration, and presidential tribute has made it a highly sought-after collector's item. In summary, the 1974 Eisenhower $1 coin, like other coins in the series, holds both historical and numismatic value. The copper-nickel versions are generally worth around $1, but the 40% silver coins are worth much more due to their silver content. Proof versions and well-preserved coins in high grade can fetch even higher values. Whether you're a new collector or a seasoned enthusiast, the 1974 Eisenhower dollar is a coin that deserves a place in your collection.